Hitler's generals were serving in the West Army forces of Budapest. I explained this in my last video. These are highly experienced World War II veterans, which were created in the army of 1955, and the common sense of move of such men of Germany that have served for 10 years since World War II. However, the fact is often not be discussed. Over in East Germany, the same thing has happened to 7 former Reich generals back to service and developed the command structure for the communist nation. Brand new army of Nazi folks of the Army and National People's Army NVA.
Ehrenkompanie! Stillstand! Achtung! Verdientes! Griff!
The West German employment of men closely associated with Hitler was surprising enough for the communism to do the same thing. The fair astounded, and soon West Germany created the Bundesführer, provided the implants of Soviets occupying East Germany in order for a puppet state. Likewise, East Germany has a military force of barricades of People's Police, and echoed to precede the Bundesführer of West Germany, the Bundesführer's borders of service, before creating an army of barricade people, or the PFR. The Soviets have created the East German new state by 1952, and over 90,000 men strong, possessing anti-tank weapons, armored vehicles, and duty of primary intentional security and public order. This was not an army of 19,000 men recruits among the former German POVs that was held in the harsh camps of Soviet Union. This was finalized of World War II era, explained discipline, and, however, the big problem of the KVP, they did not use German uniforms, and the drills are Soviet in origins, which sometimes of the East German government, the East Germany would want to establish themselves as the true only Germany to the Western Germans. The American occupation zones in the West Great Plains had been taking the demolition of the new army, which looked like American uniform, with a few German military tradition being carried from the Wehrmacht, from the new Bundesführer. These Germans saw an opportunity to claim their traditions of uniform, and the new army of the NVA looked very German, not Soviet. Now, they claim to have true German-Soviet actual went along, but in the NVA of the resemblance of the Wehrmacht, they had to destroy in the war, had to drive the Germanism in the NVA, and the interceptions of include employment, large formal war propaganda, and German officers in 1956. 27% of the NVA troops of the corps of the former Hitler ally, and among these 7 generals of that would Brock's people and the police would move the NVA. How many German generals up move in East Germany? And the answer simply was not Stalingrad. Nearly of all generals who cooperated with the Soviets had part-time of the German Sixth Army that had been encircled in Stalingrad in late 1940. Hitler refused to allow the army to fight its way out, and resulting in the pocket being trapped and devastating cities, grounds of Red Army, until ammunition and food was overwhelmingly wounded and sick. Field Marshal Franz von Thornton, the commander and staff of the shortly abolition of the 12th Order of 1943, the remainder of the German forces surrounded, and imagine 23 German generals captured alongside Paulus, blamed the Hitler's military for the incomplete desired choices. They found themselves while the ranks of the Axis prisoners, of the Jews, of officers that were sent to Soviet gulags. Only 6,000 has been taken to gulag, and the colonels were sent to special camps run by NKVD, the Soviet secret police, and was treated well. They were exposed to German communists that fled the USSR before the war, and recruitment efforts of these generals to turn to communism have largely failed, except for a major expedition of the General Weissenfeld Fund that commanded the Battle of Stalingrad. He was an anti-Nazi, a very bitter of creating under Soviet supervision the League of German Officers, who aimed to deliver anti-Hitler propaganda to German forces on the Eastern Front. Other German generals were held in Soviet captivity, either join the League or join another counter-nation called the Committee for Free Germany. These men are not communism, but the view of the organization and the resignation of Hitler's Nazism have set them free. Germany adopted a flag. The old imperial, black and white and red, appeared to the Congress fronton, and the end of the war, the clear and the no corpse against Hitler, was born. The more controversial members of the state and the German generals who had joined the National Committee had found a new role in helping and creating the new FAD. They are not able to infuse the FAD with enough German traditions and styles, but the post-war extended Wehrmacht and the communist forces, certain, have more a desire of Germans than the West German Bolschenführer. Among the Stalingrad generals that have been giving permits of post-war roles in East Germany was Arnold Schwarzenegger, not the bodybuilder one. The World War II general, that was the division of 1940. The Committee of Free Germany of the League of Nations of 1944, after release of 1940, have been allowed to settle in East Germany, and Handed Volkenführer was listed as the victim of fascists and by the regime. These people of barbarous troops were in charge of armored troops in 1956 and was made part general of the NVA. This is Hitler's Red Generals, the creation of the Eastern German Army. Goodbye.